This is Michael Cohen. Today's story is about Murder, She Wrote, or Can Somebody Benefit from Murder? All right, in this case, I call it Murder, She Wrote because the alleged murderer killed her husband and then wrote a book about it so that her grieving child could deal with the loss of their father. So, what did she do? The alleged murderer gave her husband 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his Moscow mule that she gave to him. In addition to that, she had forged his name on a power of attorney to take out a $250,000 loan that she put into her individual account, which she used in her real estate business. She also took funds from his business account and also used his credit cards, forged his name to be the sole beneficiary of his life insurance policy. In the trial, they have looked at the handwriting, and a handwriting expert has determined there's forgery. In the children's book, it had a photo of her late husband as an angel. So she profited off the book. She tried to collect on the life insurance. She's taken funds without his knowledge and consent. And by the way, she's also suing his estate because in their prenuptial agreement, it said, oh, um, if I'm still married at the time of my death, the house and business goes to my wife. And by the way, that's worth millions. Well, um, there was some incriminating evidence besides the forgery. Nowadays, they got cell phones. It's not so it's a little bit more difficult to get away with murder so than you can in the old days, the good old days. Now on her cell phone, what did it say? It said, "Oh, she did a few searches on Google. What's the lethal dose of fentanyl? Hmm. Uh, what do you say to the cops if they come to be arrest you? What is where are the prisons for the rich in America? Um, what does it say on the death certificate if somebody gets poisoned? Oh, and how do you erase messages remotely on your cell phone? Right. Well, anyway, the judge has not released her for any type of bail. She's held in jail, uh, and she has sued the estate of her husband because the prenuptial agreement said that she would get the house and the business if they were married. However, before he died, he kind of got wind of her. He got sick a few times before and thought he might die on something that she may have given him. Told his family if anything happened, she did it. That bottom line is he took, without her knowledge, the house and business and put it in a trust so it wouldn't go to her. Anyway, so she's now on trial for murder. She wrote. She murdered, tried to collect on the insurance, wrote a book, was on national TV, trying to promote her book about for poor grieving children, loss of a parent. So what does this mean to us? Can you get away with murder? The answer is there's a thing in most states called the Slayer statute. In Texas, in the insurance code, it says if somebody has been either um, alleged to be a murderer or an accomplice to a murderer, then you can't benefit. A life insurance policy, even if you're the beneficiary of the life insurance policy, you don't get it. You don't benefit from your bad acts. And on the estates code, it does mention about conviction, but it does make reference to the insurance code. And so then it goes by a court of equity, like the probate courts here in the Dallas area. So it's up to a jury to determine whether, by the preponderance of the evidence, that the person is likely to have been guilty of murder or preponderance of evidence. So it's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's a lower standard than a criminal case. And if so, they cannot benefit. So just think of the O.J. Simpson case, that is, where the family of Ron Goldman, even though there was never a conviction of O.J., in the civil courts, they determined that O.J. was guilty, or there was a preponderance of evidence that he was likely to have committed the murder, and thus the family could collect against the assets of O.J. So that's the Slater statute in most states. Quite frankly, we haven't had any cases like this, but I thought you might want to know. Thank you for joining us.